Uh, Lordirek1. I was reading over some of your replies to my video Tolerance in the Ground Zero Mosque non sequitur, and thank you very much for the replies. That was quite a detailed response you gave here, and I'm not much of a typer when it comes to that kind of a long thing, so I think I'd probably respond back with a video. Okay, and reading over some of your points, which, I don't know, some of them might not be, I don't know, I don't know. Here, let's just go over them. Okay, point 1. The Muslim world has a history of erecting mosques on sites they deem victorious for Islamic faith. You know, search out mosques in Cordoba, Spain, Istanbul, etc. Well, that's probably true, but could you really find a religion that doesn't do that? Like, back during the time when Christianity was expanding, would they not erect a chapel or something where a mosque used to be, or where something else used to be? Like, I remember hearing that, you know, like a lot of the old pagan temples that the Romans used to use were all taken over and converted to churches and cathedrals. So, I don't know, like, you might be right, but I don't see that being unique to the Muslim world. So if it's not unique to Muslims, then it's not really pertinent to the situation. And then point 2, there exists in Islam a method of government known as Sharia Law. Yeah, probably very similar to the laws that you find in the Bible, in all the Old Testament, and then the laws you find for Jewish courts too. And although I have heard that there are some courts running in Europe that use Sharia law, I don't think any govern solely on Sharia law. I would have to check my sources on this, but I'm pretty sure that Sharia law is only used in civil matters, not criminal matters. Like, I don't think there's a court in Europe that's going to allow you to take out somebody's eye because they blinded you in your eye. Like, whereas, you know, maybe when it comes to, like, you know, the settling of property or inheritance or, you know, something like that, then there probably are Sharia courts running, just like there are probably, you know, Catholic courts running and there are Jewish courts running. So, again, it's not really pertinent just to Islam. Okay, and in point 3, okay, there exists a principle known as taqiyya, which is essentially permission, really instruction, to lie to infidels and mislead them about the Muslim intention, provided it directly helps further the Sharia law principle throughout the world. Okay, well, I have heard of this taqiyya, but unfortunately, I don't think I heard it applied in the way you're talking about. Because you're saying it gives permission to lie to infidels and mislead them about the Muslim intention. Now, as far as I know, taqiyya is supposed to be used when a Muslim is confronted with the choice of either denounce Allah or die. That taqiyya allows them to denounce Allah without really denouncing Allah. Like, it's, you know, like, that's, as far as I know, that's when it is supposed to be used. Like, I'm sure there are probably certain minor sects of Islam that have interpreted that passage to mean something much more broad, but at least from my research, taqiyya essentially seems to be that, you know, you can lie to save your skin and you're not going to go to hell for it, which, I don't know, isn't really that bad of a thing to begin with, I guess. Like, I don't know. I at least, you know, I don't see that for that thing. And then point 4, you know, there exists in Islam an official method for determining which passages from the Quran takes precedent. I have heard of this before where, you know, newer passages take preferential treatment over older passages. However, I think this exact same thing is true in the Bible, because whenever I hear, you know, Christians talk about like an eye for an eye or things like that, they always couple it by saying, oh, well, Jesus came and he brought and he finished the law or something, and now we're now living in the Word or something of that nature. So the Bible, Christian Bible, does pretty much the same thing. I guess maybe the one difference might be is that the more violent stuff is in the beginning of the Bible, and the nicer stuff is near the end. Whereas in maybe the Quran, that's reversed. But still, that isn't really bad in and of itself. You know, like, it's two fictional ways of life trying to determine which is the best fictional way of life. Like, I don't know. It's kind of 6 one, half a dozen another. Okay, and then point 5, you know, the earlier passages in the Quran are more peaceful. Okay, yeah, I kind of went over that. And then point 6, Sharia law demands to be instituted worldwide. This is a requirement of the Muslim faith. Taqiyya is a means of spreading it, though inherent dishonesty to non-Muslims, through inherent dishonesty to non-Muslims. So they quote the peaceful verses from the Quran, knowing full well that they have been replaced by the more violent later versions. This is acceptable in accordance with taqiyya. Okay, perhaps, but I still don't see that being something uniquely Muslim, because I can see people holding up signs telling me that man lying with another man is an abomination, and yet the next chapter in the Bible talks about, you know, selling your daughter into slavery, or like how much to pay a rapist if he rapes her and wants to marry her. And you know, people seem to gloss over those things pretty good. And so I guess you could say that these people are trying to spread a certain particular point of view, and they're willing to lie and, you know, misinterpret things in order to get that viewpoint across. That's not uniquely Muslim. That's just something assholes do. And I'm sorry, but, you know, not all Muslims are assholes, and not all assholes are Muslim. So again, like, that really doesn't follow. And then you were saying that in Thunderfoot's video, you know, simply highlighted the insensitivity of this, and I did see his more recent video kind of rebutting his previous video, and I now kind of see the point of what he was trying to make. He was trying to say that, you know, people who live an intolerant lifestyle shouldn't turn around and be mad at someone else for being intolerant. I guess that's just the hypocrisy of it all. And that's probably good, but the only thing, though, is that a lot of things I find on YouTube and stuff like that, I don't really come across a lot of Muslims who are defending building this mosque. I'm finding a lot of, you know, Christians, atheists, like people of all stripes and religious backings and, you know, political orientations and everything. Like, so I guess he can be mad at the Saudi Arabian Wahhabi Muslims telling him that he's being intolerant, but what does he say to all of the non-Muslims who tells him he's being intolerant? Like, I don't know. Like, I guess I don't know. I guess that kind of part is kind of a disconnect. But I can understand that, you know, if the kid down the street never lets me ride his bike, the moment I tell him he's not allowed to ride my bike, he can't go crying to my mom and complain about it. I can understand that. So at least that point I can understand. So I guess for Thunderfoot, he makes a bit more sense. But as for your other 5-6 points that you left on my video, I think I've seen them in other videos before, but they seem to be truth shrouded in kind of truthiness. Like, they almost kind of reminds me of many of the talking points I hear from creationists, or, you know, or things of that ilk. Like, people who try to sound scientific, use scientific knowledge, but there's always one key part that is just slightly twisted so that it kind of fits their narrative more than the realistic narrative. Like, I'm sure we're probably all guilty for that in some way or another, but I don't know. So anyway, I just, Lordirek1, I just thought I'd give you a thorough and decent reply of your many comments. Thank you.